goodness. Back live on the YouTubes.
Here we are again.
How are you, Sir Ian Dangerous?
I am... I'm a little frazzled, but I'm good. Here I am.
I hear you went on a grand adventure this weekend.
I did. Up to the Bay Area to see the folks. Niece and nephew had a little birthday shindig, about 20-25 Rugrats between the age of, 1 and 8, all running around at the same time. And yeah, it was madness. It was a madhouse.
Nice.
Madhouse. Lots of like touristy stuff too. So it was a long weekend. I got back last night and tried to catch as much wrestling as possible during it. So not a whole lot of sleep, not a whole lot of free time. That's how I'm doing.
I didn't do much except watch, hours upon hours upon hours of wrestling.
There was so much.
Dear God.
There's so much.
Like, I didn't get out of a chair for 2 days, it felt like.
I'm not going to lie. I'm behind on it. I'm going to have to catch up by the time we do our regular show so I can talk authoritatively about it. But yeah, I've got a lot to catch up on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff going on. Nick, it's a busy time of year.
Well, I'm going to push record over here, and then we are going to get this shindig started and kick things off, as we always do, with our good friends over at Blueberry.
This episode of the Busted Wide Open podcast is brought to you by Blueberry. Blueberry offers the best media hosting, accurate listening stats, and their all-new PowerPress Deluxe sites, a no-setup WordPress website for your podcast with all of the necessary links to share your show with the world built right in. If you currently produce a podcast and are looking for a better media host or looking to start a new one from scratch, head over to orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO and sign up for the best media hosting and a PowerPress Deluxe site to get your first month absolutely free. That's orbitaljigsaw.com/BWO, or just use the promo code BWO at checkout for your first month free. And with that said, enjoy the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the only two-time PWG Battle of Los Angeles champion, King Ricochet, and you are listening to Busted Wide Open Podcast.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open Podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome back to the Busted Wide Open Podcast, but if this is your first time joining the show, I'd like to welcome you to episode 148. I'm Nick Howell.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and today we're going to recap WWE's Extreme Rules pay-per-view, which was one of like a million shows of this weekend, Nick.
It was extreme.
It was extreme-ish. It had a couple of moments, I guess. It's strange to call a pay-per-view Extreme Rules when you really can't get as extreme, but that's been talked about ad nauseum. It was, however, in Philadelphia, the home of Extreme, at least when it comes to Extreme Championship Wrestling. So it was that was a thing.
Yeah.
I want to discuss at some point about how the Philly crowd was, but before that, I mean, I want to talk about this show because as crazy as the whole weekend was, with all of the other wrestling going on, whether it was Evolve or New Japan or AEW, this show had a bunch of crazy booking decisions as well. We had 4 title changes. 4.
Wow.
On a card that last I checked had 10 matches. Wait. There's 2 more matches. Now there's 12. They said at the beginning of this week, WWE put out a press release saying we're not going to add any more matches. The card is final. We're not going to add any more matches to the card. Well,
until Vince changes his mind, damn it.
Plans change.
Right.
Plans change.
Card subject to change.
Right before the show, we had 2 last-minute matches added. We had Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler, and then we also had Shinsuke Nakamura and Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Belt, which we said should have been a match on the show last week, and then at that last minute, they're like, oh yeah, we're doing that match. On the pre-show. What?
Yeah.
What?
Dream match of sorts, a rematch, a New Japan rematch, you could say.
Well,
NXT rematch, you could say, but no, we'll put it on the pre-show this time.
Well, you know what, Nick? Let's not waste any more time and hop right in and talk about this match because let's start talking about Extreme Rules, and let's start with the pre-show because the whole thing started with Finn Balor and Nakamura on the pre-show.
And they started with me going, what?
People filing into the place, and we have the Intercontinental Championship on the line, not to pull the curtain at the top of the show, but to pull the curtain on the pre-show. And not just pulling the curtain, but Finn Balor, much like he did last week, got pretty roundly beaten by Nakamura. He had got some offense in, but 2 Kinshasas to finish this match, one to the back of the head and then one execution style to the front, and he goes down 1, 2, 3. Nakamura is your new surprise Intercontinental Champion. And if you didn't watch the pre-show and you tuned in to start the show and the announcers were like, by the way, Nakamura is your champ, you'd have been like, what? What? A major title changed hands on the pre-show? What? Oh, so Nick, what do you think is the logic here? Because there's been a lot of defensiveness on the part of WWE and people who've been defending WWE as to this match being on the pre-show, including some WWE superstars like Prince Pretty himself, Tyler Breeze, coming out and saying like, what? It makes the pre-show more important. He would know, he's Captain Pre-Show, but why would they do this to a major belt?
I love that you assume that logic was involved there. I don't know. I think Prince Pretty might be onto something there. They're trying to draw people. They're trying to do something early to draw eyes sooner. They did have the Evolve thing going on. There was a little bit of back and forth about that being on Saturday at the same time that Fight for the Fallen was on. We know that they're concerned with eyes and ratings and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah, maybe not only let's not only have a title change hands that's something besides the Cruiserweight Championship. Let's also have Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura for no reason, no story. Which with those two, frankly, you really don't need it.
You don't need it, but at the same time, this was just it seemed like a quick juggle of the belt.
Intercontinental title.
It's like they want to put it on Shinsuke real quick without a whole lot of build and no muss, no fuss. Shinsuke's your champ. Do they have plans for Finn? Is he going to go join the club and go heel? Is Shinsuke about to enter some sort of big feud that we don't know about? Like, I'm wondering. I'm trying to figure out what the logic was here because this was obviously not a plan. This was the last minute. Let's throw this match together thing.
I think creative hacked my computer and read my fantasy booking notes.
Are we ever going to hear that?
We are going to hear that,
Nick? We're like 2 pay-per-views.
I know. We're up. I'm up to the Royal Rumble. Like I got 3 more.
It's going to be next year by the time we hear this. Like at this point, I'm starting to wonder. But no, this was bizarre on many levels, and there's a lot of people that were wondering about this. Even the people that like if you can defend this, why this happened, let me know. Even when Dean Ambrose defended the Intercontinental belt against Baron Corbin at WrestleMania on the pre-show, at least there the title didn't change hands.
Yeah,
and it was just a match, and it could be like, all right, Intercontinental match in the pre-show, like lame, but all right, fine.
Right.
Here, I'm like, you're changing the belt too? What? So I'm curious what their plans are for both of these guys going forward now because this seemed like a rush decision. They're setting up a lot of pieces for SummerSlam and for the fall, for when they go on to Fox. So everything that they're doing now, I'm wondering if they're setting up a chessboard. You know what I mean? They're making chess moves to get ready for certain things to happen en route to those 2 big events.
We were also 1 step away from SummerSlam. So they've got now 5 weeks till SummerSlam, about 4 to 5 weeks to build to SummerSlam. So yeah, let's throw everything into chaos a little bit so that we can build. It's August 11th.
9th? So, that's like 3.5 weeks away, 3 weeks away.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, let's turn everything on its head and so that we can build fresh from now till SummerSlam. Okay. Let's see what happens.
But there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that in the show where I'm like, why you do this? Why you do this? And because I can only assume they're trying to build for something at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
A lot of these title changes that happen tonight and big match victories are ones where I go, what are you trying to do? Where are you going with this?
Yeah.
Because some of them make no sense.
Yeah.
We did not have any pick'ems for this match because we didn't know about it. But the next match we did have pick'ems for, and that was Drew Gulak defending his Cruiserweight Championship against Tony Nese in kind of a frankly lackluster match.
Yeah, I was bored.
not impressed. And now that being said, I'm going to give credit where credit's due. Go watch Evolve 10th anniversary. Gulak had an absolute war with Matt Riddle, which is perfect because they're such huge stalwarts of that brand.
Right.
But and it was very appropriate given their history over there if you watch Evolve. And it was an amazing match. Drew could not have been at 100% here. And it seemed like Tony Nese was trying to carry the match, but wasn't up to the task either. And it was kind of just there. It wasn't really meh. It was just one of those cruiserweight matches you look at and go, this is why the division's going to die. You got to do better than this, guys.
But I'll say this. As pre-shows go, holy shit, what a couple of matches we had to open Extreme Rules. And I got to say, going into the main show, I was like, well, damn, if this is what they're throwing at us from the pre-show, I can't wait to see what we get into.
And to be fair, what do they throw? What do they throw on the pre-show that they didn't have? They had the main show. What main show match do they throw in the pre-show?
Yeah.
What do they trade them with?
Yep.
And in that sense, I do understand. Like they're between a rock and a hard place, but at the same time, yeah. So Gulak wins this match. How long do you see him holding this title for? Like he won pretty convincingly over Nese here.
Yeah, sometime. But I expect he's long overdue for it, and I fully expect him to hold on to it for some time.
Yeah, a while at least, or at least until they dissolve the cruiserweight division. So, but
which apparently is in Heyman and Bischoff's plans, from what's rumored. Anyway, and Bischoff was never really a big fan of the cruiserweight division, even when he had an amazing cruiserweight division in WCW. Those were just kind of happening. Yep.
So I really hope that they figure something out with all these talented guys down there, something better than what they're doing with Cedric and Buddy Murphy. So we both saw Gulak picking up the win here. So moving on to the main show, and we pull the curtain on the main show. Dear God, Roman Reigns and Undertaker versus Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre. And this crowd, Nick, we were saying the last couple of weeks, we were not looking forward to Undertaker. We were kind of over it. The mystique was kind of gone. We're like, old man Taker. This crowd was not us. This crowd was hype, capital H hype for The Undertaker. Did you get more hype, not only seeing the crowd reaction, but then also in this match, how kind of good Undertaker looked? Like, did you come back? Did you walk back some of the things we've been saying on Taker in this match? There
were several times throughout this pay-per-view that I went, that's a lot better than I expected it to be. This was one of those instances for sure. It definitely. I did not expect to be as entertained by this match. You guys all know how I feel about Shane, and Taker should have retired when he lost to Brock the first time. But in my eyes, this was a lot better than it had any right to be, frankly. And I enjoyed it. It was a great way to open the show. It got everybody hyped, and the crowd was kind of hit or miss all night. They were really up or they were really dead. But they were really up for this one, and it was a lot of fun. It added to it. Yep.
Yeah, and there was again, because this match had a stipulation, Nick, and this match's stipulation was no holds barred, Hogan.
Don't hurt yourself over there.
I'm fine. And
we got as
a result, we had all kinds of shenanigans happening. Elias came out and hit Undertaker. You had people went through tables. We had coast to coast with trash cans. It was all kinds of madness in this, but it was also a lot of stuff that was very crowd pleasing. And I gotta say, dude, Taker held up his end of the bargain. He looked mean. He had the presence going. Roman Reigns definitely looked like he was just there to kind of get Taker's back, and Taker was going to run the place. So, but frankly, honestly, like there's one thing that happened in this match that made me wonder about SummerSlam, and made me wonder about a couple of things, and that was the presence and the chemistry between Drew McIntyre and The Undertaker. They had a couple of moments of staring each other down. They had a couple of little interactions, and I kind of went, huh.
It's rumored that's the thing they're building towards. Like, we're going to have Taker and McIntyre at SummerSlam. And I'm just like, okay. I mean, it's better than having him doing something else with Shane.
I mean, right? That's not the worst thing that he could do. And if Taker can work a match like this, now granted, they were obviously like protecting him a bit with having it be a tag match. But if he can do this kind of work and McIntyre can prop him up a little bit, I'm not mad at that.
I think that was one of the comments I made last night. It's smart to have him in a tag match because he gets to go get a breather for 5 minutes or something in between segments.
Doesn't get blown out.
Yeah,
exactly. Doesn't have to plod at like halfway through the match.
Full rope walk, axe handle, all kinds of. We got all kinds of vintage Taker last night.
Yeah, so. Even took Shane even came off the top turnbuckle at him while he was lying on the announce table. The heavily padded announce table.
One of those
by the way,
gymnastics 2-inch pads on it.
Lots of padding going on in this show. We'll get to that in a second. But yes, Undertaker does give a tombstone to Shane after Roman runs interference for him. Afterwards, Taker and Roman exchange signs of respect. Yeah, but
I'll say
like
this.
I
did notice one thing real quick. Roman kind of, and I understand. Like the Undertaker gives you an attaboy and slaps you on the chest, right? You could see him almost have a moment of where he kind of dropped his chin down a little bit and almost kind of got like emotional to an extent.
Well, he's had a main event WrestleMania match with Taker. Like it's not like this is the first time he's ever worked with the guy. But
you got to tag team with the Undertaker, dude.
Well, there's a couple of shots of him outside the ring marking out, looking at the Undertaker going, he's cool.
Hey, Ian Yates, thank you very much. $5 tip to the jar. Thank you, sir.
What?
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Very much.
Good stuff. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, what we got next?
Yeah, so we both knew that was going to happen, so we called that in our pick'ems. Yeah. But the next one we also called, and that was the Revival defending the Raw Tag Team titles against the Usos. Everyone was so burnt out from Taker that the Revival Usos came out. Revival came out and the Usos came out, and everyone was kind of like, meh, because there's no story here. There's not really any build here. There's not really any. No one really cares about them at this point, unfortunately, because this was a great match.
This was one of those instances where I said they're either really high. It was very binary. They're really high or they are dead. And like it's Philadelphia. They're a lively crowd to have an event at.
Yeah, I was going to say this. I'll say this for later, but I've read reports that people who were in the building said that the sounded like when they watched it when they got home, it sounded like the mics were pointing in the wrong direction or were turned down, because apparently in the building they were hyped the whole time. It was just they were either loud or really loud, but that there was very rarely were they really really down. But this was one of the matches where they kind of got a little quiet. Also, the Alexa Bliss match. So there were a couple times where they did get a little quiet, but like the Cesaro and Aleister Black match, it didn't sound like they were that hyped for that match. But if you were there live, it was just the place was coming apart. So that's one thing I want to throw in there is that live reports. We did have a listener. His name's Trevor. I think it was Trevor Lee. Was there at the show last night in Philadelphia. Came all the way down from Vermont to Philadelphia to see Extreme Rules live. Damn,
and he had something similar to say in the live chat last night. So you may be onto something there. Interesting.
Yeah. So I hope that's the case, because a lot of these matches deserved some attention. This is one of them where I was like, these guys are putting on just like a clinic in tag team wrestling. Revival working brilliantly heel.
When you guys hear me go on and on about tag teams and what aren't tag teams and aren't, these are two tag teams.
Yeah.
These are two shining examples of what a tag team is supposed to be.
Neither of these teams, we're never going to see these guys break up and have one guy go solo. This is the tag teams for life. So, yeah, but as a result, you get matches like this where it's all like you get the tag team psychology, one team, both of them coming out the gates hot, and then it slows down while the bad guys start grinding down the good guys, and then, then it starts fluctuating as the match goes on. But it was great. The Revival did the Revival things, classic, heel tag team distractions, and finally picking up the win with a distraction and a shatter machine. So Revival beating the Usos. We thought that was going to happen because there's probably going to be a rematch with more stakes at SummerSlam, which is they need. They need to build up this feud a bit more. It needs to get a little hotter, right? It's not really there yet.
Give me
it's
more.
Just more. Yeah, give me more of this. It's fine to have more of this. I don't mind if they do a repeat of this match, because I feel that there's more these guys can do. And these are two of the best tag teams, not only in WWE, but in the world. I can say that without any hyperbole. They are. So there's a lot more work they could do beyond this, because they were just the second match on the card. So they didn't want to go all out here, and nor should they have. This was exactly the kind of match that should have been where it was. And the Revival retains, so we can have a babyface win for the Usos, hopefully, down the road.
So not Tai Chi and Yoshihashi levels. All right, moving on. We finally got to see Aleister Black have a match, a singles match on the main
singles
roster.
match on the main roster, finally. And I have to say, I was nervous because the last few weeks of him losing his mind in a dark room because no one wants to fight him, has been really disturbing to me. I just like character assassination wise. Like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this to this character? This makes no sense. And then Cesaro came along and was the guy who challenged him, and people were like, why Cesaro? And stepping back, you go, well, these are two incredibly proficient technical wrestlers and strikers, just workers in the ring in general. They'll probably put on a good match. I swear to God, Nick, I didn't think about all of that stupid backstage bullcrap this entire match. It was just too good. It was just too good. All they did was just hit each other.
To beat the absolute shit
awesome.
out of each other. And that's exactly what we wanted to see this entire time. It's exactly why Cesaro got picked for this. I think, there were several people last week that went, oh, God, Cesaro, really?
Yeah.
And I went, no, wait.
No.
Just wait.
They'll bring out the best in each other. And they did. They brought out the best in each other. Cesaro is a great heel worker. And you saw that here with him mocking Aleister Black and, doing the sit-down pose, and Aleister Black kicking the crap out of him outside the ring and doing his own sit-down pose. And then it just proceeded to just be strike after strike. Cesaro going off with European uppercuts and Aleister Black going off with kicks. And the finish was great because it felt like, obviously didn't feel like a real fight per se, but it was, Cesaro pissing off Aleister Black enough that he goes on a flurry of strikes, and finally, while they're trying to exchange and Cesaro's trying to dodge and come back with a strike, Aleister slips in a black mass for the 1-2-3. And it wasn't like Cesaro looked weak. He, at one point, he almost KO'd Aleister Black with this monstrous European uppercut, and Aleister Black had to grab for the ropes instead of kicking out. So they both looked great here. Aleister Black looks like a beast again, thank God. They still have the creaky effects on his damage. His entrance still looks like crap, Nick.
Yeah, it does.
They actually, you can see like the little, like the felt drapes that they have the candles set on. Like it looks, I'm like, how are you so incompetent?
It's like a middle school theater project in a way. It's awful.
It's like, dude, it's camera work 101, directing 101. This stuff, like this is it's atrocious. How well they did it in NXT versus how poorly they shoot it on the main roster. How is it the same company? It's one of those things that just consistently makes me insane. Where and by the way, just so no one comes down on me for crapping on Kevin Dunn for no reason, there was a lot of incredibly good camera work tonight, and a lot of really good, like the catching moments and catching shots and zooming in at the right time and framing things right. There was actually a lot of really good camera work on the show. This just was glaringly bad, and it's such an easy fix. It makes me nuts. Yep. It makes me nuts. I'm going to keep going off on it. Somebody get me a ice cube to put down the back of my neck.
But I'm going to end this on a positive because there was one thing that stood out to me during this match. There was this one sequence where Aleister just like spider crawled up on him and transitioned him down into a knee bar and like slid down him like a fireman's pole, grabbed his leg, whipped him around and put his leg in a knee bar. I don't think I've seen anything like that since, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the Olympics. And then transitioning from that, Cesaro rolled him over and curled him up into a sharpshooter. This exchange, we had 2 or 3 of these kinds of exchanges, and I think it was just a little whet of the appetite because what these two guys are capable of doing, oh man. That's why I went nuts when I found out. Everybody's like, oh, I wanted Bray Wyatt. No. Cesaro is legit.
Something like this.
This is why I always hated the bar, is because it cornered Cesaro into this thing where he didn't really. Anyway, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole.
It made him a brawler. He became more of a brawler like Sheamus and less of a technical guy. He would still do some stuff, but it was a lot of brawling.
Yeah.
Which is fine. He's a good brawler too, but he's a very well-rounded guy. Again, this was all around. This was fantastic. I kind of hope it continues, although I picked Cesaro on what you will admit was my flyer. I called it my flyer.
You did.
I thought they might try to get Cesaro over and then have Aleister come back, but no. So Aleister won here. It was kind of the obvious pick.
Right.
And I just hope it continues. I don't know who else they would give Aleister to really kind of set him off on the right path after this kind of awkward backstage crap. The other question I have is why are they now calling him the Dark Destroyer instead of the Dutch Destroyer?
Because it doesn't matter whether he's Dutch or not. I don't know. They want to make him dark and brooding.
Don't let them know he's foreign.
Right.
They don't like the
He
foreign
must be
ones.
face, no foreign heat. But even though
I
the
swear
Dutch
to
are like
God.
the nicest people in the world.
Yeah, and it connects him more with his whole like black metal thing he has going. Anyway, whatever. That's
Norway.
It's the whole Scandinavian region, bro.
Sure.
I just turned to Vince Russo there for a second, bro, or Matt Riddle. Imagine if they ever had a kid. The kid would only ever speak in bros.
Oh God, I don't know.
Anyway,
if we can continue this show anymore now. Good Lord,
Vince Riddle. So that kind of irritates me. It's one of those like things, vestigial things that WWE has where like if they're foreign, they got to be bad guys. We can't have good guys be foreign at all. Yeah. So I don't know. It popped out at me and made me nuts.
Yeah.
But you took the lead on this one, Nick. You called this one. I went nuts and picked Cesaro like an idiot. But as I was beating myself up for that, we went and had the next match, which was Bayley defending her SmackDown Women's Championship against Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss. A 2-on-1 match, which I frankly had lots of high hopes for.
Me too.
And it was a well-worked match.
More entertaining than I expected it to be. A running trope of this show for me.
Yeah. I honestly think Nikki really brought the best out of Bayley, to be honest with you. Yeah. It kind of underlined to me how Alexa is just not that good of a wrestler because she's had matches with a lot of people and they just have not been that good. But then Nikki comes along with Bayley and it's like, oh, there we go. Now we're having some fun. Now we're having some good stuff. Did you get that too, or did you think that Alexa was holding up her end of the bargain here, or was it just Nikki and Bayley having all of the good stuff?
Nikki and Bayley having all of the good stuff. This was not about Alexa Bliss. This is a end-around way to get Nikki Cross up there and visible. It's what this whole thing's been about. Has been about Nikki Cross, not about Bayley or not about Alexa Bliss. I'm excited about that. I was a little bit perturbed with the way that it ended because this is not. It has several ramifications, the way that they ended this. And where do they go from here? Are they going to continue this? I guess we'll find out tonight or tomorrow, sorry, on SmackDown. But okay, now what? Right?
Well, and that's more of the things. You said the ending drove you nuts. What ending? The match ended. Bayley pinned Nikki Cross, and then that was it. And the crowd there was looking around like, okay. Do something. Do nothing happened.
Like, what was all this build for the last 2 months to
Alexa
get to
didn't turn on Nikki. Yeah, because the whole thing was, if Nikki gets pinned, Alexa's going to turn on her. Nothing happened. Nothing. Bayley just won. She's still the champ, which, by the way, like I said on the show, I hope that's what happens because Bayley needs to be strong. But we both picked Alexa and Nikki to win this because we thought that's where the story was. And Bayley just won and there was no story.
Yeah.
Philly
gave us some "We Want Sasha" chants, by the way.
Good for Philly.
Yep.
But that's up to Sasha at this point.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know. This was weird to me.
Neither one of us saw Bayley coming out of this with the title. We both picked Alexa and Nikki for various multitudes of reasons that would have made sense. But nope. Bayley retains.
Bayley still retained, which is fine. I just want they better do something with Alexa and Nikki. They should have done it on this show.
Yeah.
But if they got something that they're waiting for, or they just didn't have it ready, all right. But Alexa Bliss is now in a fatal 4-way to be the challenge. Well, I don't want to make any spoilers yet. If you haven't seen the show, I don't want to spoil it for you. But we'll get to that at the end of the show.
Okay.
All right, we'll do that. We'll move on to the next match. Your boy Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley. In a last man standing match. I don't know if I could call this a match, Nick. This was more like a Bruiser Brody destroy everything in the arena and scare people in the audience. Two big dudes breaking stuff all over the place match.
Yeah.
Did you like this? Did you like the way that this was just two big dudes brawling in the audience?
Here's what I'll say.
Entire match?
I want my big dudes to be just big, unwithering behemoths. I don't want little. I don't want to punt. My point is there was too much selling going on between two guys that are 350 plus, and the stumbling and the wobbly legs and all that kind of stuff. And I get it to an extent, but it's a bit much. there's part of me that wants these two guys to just be Ishii style, just no sells everything.
This is the problem with this time of year is that we all start watching too much New Japan and we're like, why doesn't WWE do New Japan
That's
stuff?
not what I mean. That's not what I mean. I want a 385-pound man to be able to take a punch and it just not even phase him at all, right? Not until he takes Bobby Lashley and throws him into the merch wall 5 feet off the ground and then lands on concrete. Okay, cool. You can stagger a little bit.
You can sell now.
Yeah. Not until you get power slammed 2 stories off the seats into obviously padded pre-built box. But whatever. We'll go with it. We'll have fun.
So that's the part I want to talk about. Okay. Is that there was a couple of big spots in this match, but the big spot was Braun and Bobby being up on basically what you could tell as this whole thing progressed was an entranceway to the ring, and they were in the stands above this entranceway. So probably like 15 feet off the floor. And WWE had constructed a plywood box that filled this entryway and put a little fake wood gate at the top that Braun kicked open and then power slammed Bobby Lashley all the way down through it. He went with him. And frankly, initially it looked great. It reminded me of some of the crazy spots you've seen in like Lucha Underground did a couple of these spots. They did one where like the guys went through the back of the
Phoenix would come through the office or something.
Right, or they went through the top of the office, exactly. Yeah. And or there's one where I forget if it was who was it, Dragon Azteca and Mil Muertes chokeslammed him through the bleachers.
And Helico did one too, I believe, off the top there.
They did a bunch of these kinds of things where dudes just do a big move and just disappear into the debris. And it looked great.
Yeah.
And this started off looking that way where like they go down through this plywood and the first camera angle they have, it looks like they just went down straight to hell.
Yeah.
Like we don't know where the hell they went. There was, what the heck? There's some sort of structure there and they just went down through it.
Had they had some pyro, like they did when they burst through the LED wall?
Like
explode up out of there or something like that?
Well, this is the thing. All right. This structure, whatever it was, had no logical reason. Again, sorry, Nick, logic.
Yeah.
No logical reason to be there. We had no explanation for what this actually was other than a random box-like thing in one of the entrances, covering up the entire entrance. So it was weirdly obtrusive just where it was. But on top of that, at one point, the camera kind of gets up and behind where they fell off of, and you look down, you see Braun crawling around all the pads in the bottom, and it's just like, oh. So, disbelief, suspended, disbelief.
I was okay with all this, because at the end, Braun Strowman burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, he punches his way through the front of this thing.
Big elbow comes flying through the wall and just splinters everything everywhere. He goes, roar! And I'm like, yes! Yes! That's exactly what I want my big man to do!
They saved it with him bursting through the front for sure. But it was definitely one of those things where I was like, guys, it doesn't take much to just give this a little bit of purpose, like figure out what this structure actually is. Dress it up a little bit. Don't just have I don't know. I'm nitpicking maybe, but but that's the problem. I look down and I see the pads and immediately my brain goes, how could you have done this better, guys? I'm not marking out anymore. Now you've killed my suspension of disbelief. Now I'm back in it. And only like the kind of little kid in me that went like when Braun Strowman came bursting through the thing was the only thing that saved it at that point. Yeah. And then of course Lashley gets counted down because he's just in there dead on his nice comfy pads.
Right.
But yeah. So in some ways, this is another one of those camera shots I wanted to be like, no, what did you do? The execution, not 100%. The concept. The concept not 100%. The execution they did as well as they could, except for that one camera angle. Yeah. So I don't know. I
ain't mad at it. I loved it. It was big dudes doing big spots and beating the absolute shit out of each other all over the arena. We love it when they go up into the stands, into the arena.
By the way, this is how Braun Strowman made his bread and butter in the first place, and this is how Bobby Lashley should be used.
Yep.
You have this giant behemoth of a guy in Bobby Lashley. Obviously, Strowman is a whole nother level, but Lashley is a freaking genetic abnormality. That guy's got muscles on muscles. So he looks the part like someone who could toe-to-toe with Strowman. So these guys, bumping and humping all around the arena looks awesome, and it feels awesome because it feels like a couple of classic WWE wrestling. Behemoths beating up behemoths, like you said. So, well, good use for both of these guys. And good use of tag teams in our next match, the New Day versus Heavy Machinery versus the Planet's champions, Daniel Bryan and Eric Rowan, for the SmackDown Live Tag Team Championships. Now, we called Braun Strowman picking up the win in the last match.
Yeah.
We were both wrong on this one, and we each picked different people.
I don't think
we were
anybody
still
saw
wrong.
this coming.
I certainly didn't, because it didn't seem like the right time, or all I know is this was a fantastically entertaining match.
Yes, it was.
It was well worked. It was a well told story. Everyone had a great little moment. Everyone got their work in. You know, no matter what your move is, you got your move in. And it was entertaining as hell the entire time. And the ending was fantastic because you had Big E kneeling and taking the Daniel Bryan, whatever they're called now, Planets kicks. And Big E started no-selling him. He just hulked up, stood right up. Daniel Bryan started slapping. He said, "Come on, slap me some more." Daniel Bryan slapped him some more. He said, "Come on, slap me some more." Daniel Bryan slapped him some more. And then he catches one of the slaps. And he gives him a lariat and turns him inside out. And then he picks up Daniel Bryan on his shoulder. Daniel Bryan's squirming like a little child on Big E's massive shoulders. And Xavier Woods comes in midnight hour. 1, 2, 3. The New Day are six time tag team champions. What?
I can't wait for the cameras to cut to the audience and for people to continue to screw up. That's one of my favorite things about the New Day. Quick sidebar. It's one of my favorite things about the New Day coming in is when you hear Big E go, "Oh," and the camera cuts to the crowd, and they're all trying to do the chant, and they inevitably screw it up somewhere, or Big E changes something.
Well, he's like, now that Kofi's the champ, he throws the Kofi reference in there, and people are like, "Oh yeah, there's that." Well, they forget how many times they've been champions because they keep getting more championships.
Now it's six-time champs.
Six.
So New Day draped in gold.
Draped in gold. All
Take
the
that
SmackDown
Undisputed Era.
All the SmackDown Gold tag team champions and the WWE champion. So a couple things. Are you good? Because Heavy Machinery was in here being fun. Should this have just been New Day and Daniel Bryan and Rowan, or was this a better idea to have this be a three-way?
No, I'm okay with this because Heavy Machinery looked great. They didn't eat the pin. Daniel Bryan ate the pin. And I'm fine with it. I got other things.
Which was wild, by the way.
I agree. I totally agree.
I was shocked.
Very shocked. Very shocked that New Day won. Very shocked that Daniel Bryan was the one that ate the pin.
But I've got my
real quick.
Tinfoil hat coming up. Okay.
I'm not mad at this for Heavy Machinery because they've had great couple of weeks of matches, and they had a great match here in this three-way sort of tornado tag, and I think they are off to the races. It's not if, it's when they get those titles. They're looking fantastic.
They're being put in the position to just go out there and do the things that they do best, and that's entertain with really good tag wrestling, and the crowd is reacting accordingly. So, no, good for them. But real quick, my tinfoil hat moment. You realize now that Daniel Bryan has official beef with all three New Day members. Well, he's been beaten now by all three New Day members. I'm just throwing that out there. Mm-hmm. Things to think about. Mm-hmm. Things that make you go,
Yeah, I think they got other plans for Daniel Bryan.
I'm going to come back on this. But I will say this, that after this, Daniel Bryan was backstage screaming he's done with the tag division. It was caught on WWE.com.
Good.
So you can go look at that. By the way, another amazing promo by Daniel Bryan. Go look it up. Look up this on WWE's YouTube. Daniel Bryan complaining after this match. It's another just lights out. The dude is up there for the best promos in the WWE. He's just lights out right now.
Yeah.
If Daniel Bryan and Rowan do break up, what happens to Rowan?
What happens to Rowan? Rowan Shirt Watch.
Rowan Shirt Watch.
This one, I actually paused and rewound and tried to find it, but it was such a...
His damn beard was covering the band name.
Right. Or
it was that
beard. Crazy skull crown graphic with like the crazy Celtic font kind of stuff going on. Gaelic font.
Finally picked it up and got it. But it took me a while. And it's a band I haven't thought of in a long time either because they're weird, but they're good. They're very good. It's a Finnish black/folk metal, because Rowan loves folk metal, black/folk metal band called Fintroll. And they're a little more obscure, but I don't know. They're good.
Do they troll Finn Balor?
They do not. They do not. However, I've heard a rumor that Rowan will be teaming with Finn Balor, and that whenever the demon comes out, that Rowan will come out dressed as a troll, and he'll be the Finn troll. And he'll come out. Moving on. Neither of us picked this up. You picked up Heavy Machinery, and I picked Daniel Bryan and Rowan, but that didn't happen. New Day is your champs again, and we had a little moment where Paul Heyman came out in Philadelphia and said, "I am Philadelphia. I am extreme. I am extremity." This was weird because, I expected him to be like, "We're going to get extreme." And instead he said, "I want to make history in Philadelphia." And I was like, oh, wow. So he basically said, yeah, Brock's going to cash in. And everyone kind of went, but is he? Because as we said on this show, Paul's now in this weird limbo of being the boy who cried wolf. How many times can he say, oh, Brock might be here tonight. Brock's going to do this, Brock's going to do that. And we're like, but is he?
But he said WWE first without the and/or Universal, and I started to go, he is going to cash in on Kofi.
Yeah, I definitely think that was very intentional, very trolly of him. Not Finn trolly, okay, but very trolly. So our next big match was AJ Styles versus Ricochet for the U.S. title, which was my match of the night.
Easily.
Easily. These guys have been working perfectly where their TV matches have been getting better and better, and they finally were like, cool, we're in a pay-per-view, we can really let loose. We're gonna. And they did. And I have to say that, if it weren't for all the club interference, this would have been a near perfect match. And they had to have the interference. That's just the story. Is Anderson and Gallows getting involved and messing with Ricochet and helping AJ. That's part of it. But my God, this was good. Yeah,
please more. But just more.
Please.
I can't possibly go to that bowl more enough. Just please keep giving me the matches with those two guys.
Well, they work so well together. Their chemistry is so good because Ricochet is like a young, even more impossibly spry AJ Styles, and AJ, of course, having come up using that style, is now like, okay, I know how to work with this style. And WWE has made Ricochet slow down. They've made him chill out on his spots, and now he uses his spots very sparingly. And he's able to tell a story in the ring, and his selling is incredible. And this match, his selling was great again.
Yeah.
And you had basically the story of this match was having Anderson and Gallows interfere and costing Ricochet the title, and that's what happened. Ricochet is no longer the U.S. champion, which is now, Nick, I want to get your opinion on this. Are they hot potatoing this U.S. championship too much? Because Ricochet just got this. Is this another do you think this was the original idea when they put this title on Ricochet was, hey, we're going to have you an AJ feud, AJ's going to take it off of you, and then we're going to have a continuing feud? Or was this like, we got to get the title on AJ right now, kind of like the Shinsuke Intercontinental title change?
I don't know. I'm undetermined at this point. I think they might have put it on Ricochet to give time for AJ to flip, reform the club, and then give it back to him. I wouldn't be surprised if Gallows and Anderson start showing up in the tag team picture. So if they're going to go through with this whole club rebuild again, which I'm all in on. Yes. I love that. Because it gives Gallows and Anderson something to do and actually be on TV. Yes, I'm all in for it.
You're all in, but are you AEW all in for it?
Don't go there.
They just signed. How serious?
They just signed new big contracts. They're very happy. They're fine. But as far as hot potatoing the U.S. title, though, I think that's worth discussing. So, is it as bad as the 24/7 title? No. Well, but am I mad at it constantly being in contention, up for grabs, and anybody can get it? Yes. Does that sound like the 24/7 title? A little bit, but I want it to. I want it to be the everyman title in a way.
Okay.
I want that to be the title, because not everybody can be Intercontinental Champion, not everybody can be WWE Champion, but everybody's kind of got a shot at being the U.S. Champion.
So you're saying you want it to be the European Championship?
Pretty much. Which is
Nick,
kind of what I view it as, frankly.
But that's the thing. I don't think it should be. I think it should have it. The European Championship was kind of a joke. Like it was just kind of to give someone a belt on the lower mid card, whereas for a time there, I mean, the U.S. Championship has an actual like venerable legacy. It actually has a history that's important. You know what I mean? Just ask Harley Race. It's got a very important history, which the European Championship did not.
Fine.
And so to have it used as essentially a prop, of course, which is, arguably most of the WWE belts are props, but to have it be used as a prop, it's a little bit disconcerting. For a while there, it was actually coming back into prominence with John Cena's U.S. Open Challenge. And then there was a few times after that where the U.S. title really felt like it was something important. I'm not saying it doesn't now. I think that giving it to Ricochet and having it go to AJ is a good thing. It was a quick transition, but I think it's a good thing. It makes sense in the story. My only question is, where do we go from here? Now AJ is this champ. They obviously wanted to give the club a little beacon of how powerful they were. A prop to show how powerful they were. Look, we have championship gold in our little faction. Cool. Good. That's a good call. But what happens to Ricochet now? Because, they're obviously high on him.
He's fine.
They're obviously high on him. He'll be fine. But what does he do now? Does he keep feuding with the club and AJ and is chasing? Because I wouldn't mind him chasing. He's a babyface. It works well for him.
Yeah. Be that underdog little guy chasing stuff. I mean, ask me again on Thursday. Let's see what happens tonight and tomorrow, because
all right.
I think that'll tell us very quickly, it's probably going to go back and forth between him and AJ for some time.
But
probably ending up as a rematch at SummerSlam.
I would rather they didn't hot potato it, is all I'm saying. Neither of us call this. We both thought Ricochet was going to retain for this exact reason, because we didn't think they were going to hot potato it.
Right.
But no, they gave it to Styles, and I'm curious to see where they go with from this. What do we know? Sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't.
Yep. Good shit, damn it.
Yeah, they listen to us, but then Vince goes and changes stuff.
Right.
So, it's all Vince.
Yeah.
Our next match, Kevin Owens defeats Dolph Ziggler in 16 seconds, I think it was.
3 seconds?
Well, it was from the bell ring because they were jawing for a while.
Yeah.
You had, this match was added late, and as sometimes happens with late added matches, it was a squash. Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler came to the ring and immediately started jawing at each other. Dolph slapped Kevin. Kevin looked disgruntled, gave him a stunner. 1, 2, 3. Match is over, and Kevin Owens grabs a mic and starts screaming about how Shane McMahon can't cut his mic or fire him. And F you, Shane. I want to kick your ass like everyone in here does.
Mwah.
All right.
Magic.
All right, Kevin.
This was absolute magic.
Do you think now that this whole
I would
thing
have
with
rather
Shane and Drew?
seen him go off on the mic than see him have an actual match with Dolph Ziggler. This was fantastic.
This was as well as they could have done this. You know what I mean? Like, there's two aspects about this I want to talk about. And one is they're obviously going the stone cold route with Kevin Owens fairly blatantly, which is fine. Not mad at that. But do you think that Shane now pivots to primarily face Kevin and we have a Shane and Kevin feud? And if so...
Yeah, because Roman's going to be busy. He's got to go get the title at SummerSlam.
Yes. We'll get to that. But my question here is, one of the things Kevin was saying was that we were sick of having Shane on TV. He was tweeting about how all these people don't get TV time because Shane does. If he pivots and goes into a feud with Shane, that's more Shane TV time while he's feuding with Kevin.
And we've already seen that, which culminated at Hell in a Cell with Shane jumping off the cell and Sami Zayn pulling him out of the way. And
yeah,
I mean, we've already seen this 2 years ago.
We've seen this in reverse. I don't know if I need to see it in reverse again. I like Kevin as being the anti-authoritarian ass kicker who just runs in and breaks rules and gives people stunners and runs away. I don't know where I've seen that before.
But is he able to do that if Shane had not been on TV the last 6 months?
Well, obviously that was one of the things we talked about on the show this week was this just them screwing up and putting Shane on too much and driving people nuts, or was that intentional? Like they were trying to get Shane to be this hated so that they could have someone like Kevin Owens come along and be like, and see how he's pissing you. Pipe bomb him, essentially. But how many viewers did they lose because of that? I mean, obviously not enough. But yeah, I don't know. It was the whole thing's kind of weird to me. But I do like Kevin Owens as being the ass kicker. The question I have is Dolph Ziggler. He keeps protesting that he's not this thing, this kind of like this a guy who's just being utilized in the upper mid card to put guys over, and that he's actually worth something. And then he goes, this happens to him. Like this is the cycle of Ziggler. where he comes in, builds himself up, and then squash. Builds himself up, and then gets beaten in a match he's run his mouth on a whole lot. Like it's decreasing dividends. People are getting sick of seeing this. It's why this match was so brilliant. No one wanted to see this match. No one cared, because people have stopped caring about Dolph Ziggler because WWE has forced us to stop caring about Dolph Ziggler, which is a tragedy because the dude is talented as hell. But I don't know about you. Do you feel like are you burnt out on Ziggler?
Oh, a long time ago.
Do you think he needs a reboot? Do you think a reboot would help at this point?
I think they've tried that twice already. I think they tried it with the record scratch stuff, and then they tried it again here with the whole should have been me.
I think he needs like a ground up one, like new entrance music, everything.
No, he just needs to go back to being the bleach blonde, curly with a perm show off, coming out glistening, just being that.
Oh, you want nostalgia Ziggler?
I want old world champion Money in the Bank Ziggler with AJ Lee and Big E at his side, and just the absolute show off, shit talking. But he could also he could talk the talk and he could walk the walk. Right now, I don't believe a effing word he says, and I'm over it.
I hate to tell you, Nick, I think that ship has flown.
Sure.
So to speak. Neither of us picked this because we didn't know this match was happening. Yay!
Okay.
Next, we start getting into our championship matches. Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe for the WWE Championship. Nick, what the hell happened here? This was a home run in the making, and this match was not terrible because both these guys are really good workers, but it wasn't good.
No.
It wasn't good. It was, I mean, there's a couple of like flipping the birds to each other. It happened.
It wasn't the outcome I expected. It wasn't what I had hoped to see. I had some pretty crazy, fantastical sort of things that I had hoped we would get to, because I didn't think this would be an exciting match in its vanilla state as it is, without any stipulation, without anything at an Extreme Rules pay-per-view. You're just going to have somebody like Samoa Joe going up against sort of the wiry but wily Kofi Kingston. This needed something to just oomph it, just like goose it a little bit.
Yeah, and there's two problems that I had with this. One was the finish just came out of nowhere, and it was Joe eating a Trouble in Paradise for the 1, 2, 3, which has been kind of Joe's. And when he goes for world titles, that seems to be his thing, as he looks great the entire match and then goes out to one finishing move, like he's got a glass jaw or something.
Right.
He's only ever won, I believe, one world title match, and that was a disqualification, so he didn't pick up the belt. He's lost 6 in a row, and all pretty much the same. So, with the exception of like a couple of times in the AJ Styles feud, he's kind of looked like crap in all of his world title matches. And here, again, he looked good the entire match. He looked like he was solid. He was holding his own. And then at the end, boom, he's done. And with a guy like Samoa Joe, who comes out and presents himself as a killer, as a guy who can just absolutely destroy you and your family and everyone you love, that is, like Dolph Ziggler, it's going to pay decreasing dividends as time goes on. Because at a certain point, people are going to be like, oh, yeah, Joe, you're really scary. You can't win a freaking match. You can't pull it down when it's time. So that was what I came away from this thinking was, what could they have done here to make Joe look better?
Have him win?
Or have him, I don't know, kick out a finishing move. We want a finishing move to be a finishing move.
Is this Bray Wyatt 2.0?
Bingo.
Can Joe win a match?
Can we give Joe something? Can we throw this guy a bone at least? And
at
with
least
the build,
Bray Wyatt won the WWE Championship for 2
and
months.
And then look how his run went.
And then he ended up in a House of Horrors match and it was just a nightmare.
Maggots in the ring.
My point is that Joe is being put. If you go all the way back to last summer with like the Fatal 5-Way for the Universal Championship, Joe has been kind of all along the way over the course of the last year. In he's been along for the ride. He just hasn't won, other than like Rey Mysterio for the U.S. Championship.
At WrestleMania, he squashed him. That's it. That's like his big moment.
Okay. No, I think you're on to something there. This feels very akin to 2-3 years ago, Bray Wyatt, and just not being able to close.
And misusing a guy who you could absolutely have be a major title contender, main event guy for years still, and having him constantly lose and lose clean and lose, looking like he has a glass jaw. it ain't doing you any favors. That being
there
said,
might be nobody better in the wrestling business today on a microphone than Samoa Joe. And
he's monstrous. But the other thing that handicapped this match was the fact that everyone kept looking for Brock to come out. People in the audience were saying, "We want Brock." No, we don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were looking for it. You would actually given a +1 on your pick'ems that he was going to cash in on this match, and when he didn't, and the finish just kind of just happened, the crowd was like,
because I didn't think
I was like,
no way in hell they're taking those belts off of Becky and Seth. Because did you know they're dating, by the way?
Are they dating? Are they boyfriend and girlfriend?
Yeah.
Are they seeing each other?
Oh man,
is he the man's
it's
man?
kind of serial. It's super serial at this point.
Super serial.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So does Joe get this rematch? And if not, who does Kofi face at SummerSlam now? Like, who are they going to build up for him? Or do we actually get a decent Joe feud and have him be the one to finally take it off Kofi? Would that redeem this?
Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns
takes it off of Kofi.
Maybe.
This is why it doesn't make sense. Like, why not have Joe win here and have Roman take it off of Joe?
That would have been yes.
Right?
The thing that makes no sense is the fact that, look, Kofi, we love you. I'm going to speak directly to you right now. We love you, my friend. You've had a great 11-year run. You had a great 3 to 4 month run with the championship. Your run up to WrestleMania was amazing. But it's time to move on. Times change.
Short attention span Howell wants you to drop the belt.
Short attention span WWE Universe. We need to do something else.
Oh, you speak for everyone. You speak for everyone now, do you?
I think I speak for a majority of folks to say that the Kofi Kingston WWE Championship run is getting a little long in the tooth.
I disagree. I think that it would have, if you're going to put the title on Roman, put it on Joe here and then give it to Roman. If you're not going to put it on Roman, who's Kofi going to face? I'm down to watch him face more people. I'm down to have the New Day draped in gold. I think this is going to be an interesting run. And I'm not sick of it yet. I think the New Day is one of the greatest factions to have ever existed in WWE.
I'm not sick of the New Day yet.
Well, Kofi is part of the New Day, Nick.
I mean, the New Day, the tag team, yes. I think I want my big boys to have my big boy championships. That's
funny stat.
Funny stat.
Did you know this is the first time this configuration of New Day has won the tag team belts? Usually Kofi's been involved in every other time.
Yeah,
this is the first time that
Xavier's the odd man out.
Or Big E. It's like Xavier and Kofi have won the belts. Big E and Kofi have won the belts. Xavier and Big E have never won the belts. Kind of cool. Cool little stat. Yeah. But yeah, very curious to see where they go with Kofi after this. I did call that Kofi was going to win here. You wanted Brock to cash in and Joe to win on Joe. You wanted Brock to cash in on Joe.
Yeah.
And take it off him. None of that happened.
Attempt to cash in. I didn't think he would be successful.
Happened. Well, you still called a cash in here, and it didn't happen. But it might have happened in the next match. If you listen to Paul Heyman, you might have happened after the next match, which was Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Lacey Evans and Baron Corbin for all of the champion, for the Raw Women's, for the Universal Championship. So it was a match.
No, I enjoyed this. I'll say it again. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would. Lacey came out. One of the big things was Lacey came out. She had Seth written in cursive. SE on one cheek and TH on the other cheek. And they did a real close pull in with the camera on her butt. And I was like, whoa. Oh, I see.
Best part is Baron Corbin applauding as soon as they pull back. Like he was like, yeah, that was a good shot.
Yeah. Look at it.
And I know they were trying to get the lettering on her butt. Like, get the lettering on her butt. But it looked like the most. Okay, so we're in the middle of watching a whole bunch of New Japan, everybody, right? We're all watching the G1.
Right.
If you ever watch Yujiro Takahashi come out, or even sometimes if you've got sometimes it'll happen with Taichi. Yeah. Anyone who's got the hot valet, if they're in any kind of short shorts or thongs, that camera guy in New Japan is the biggest perv. He will be halfway up that girl's backside as soon as she gets to those ropes and tries to get into the ring.
Yeah.
This was a New Japan cameraman move right here. She goes to get in the ring and he goes, gets right up in it. I have to say, I was like, well, WWE, we are getting a little extreme, aren't we? Not forget PG. That was one thing. But then the match happened and it got this definitely did get a little bit more extreme than I thought they were going to get. Yep. Mostly with kendo sticks. and one big table spot in the outside where Becky dropped a leg on Lacey on one table, and Seth went flying over her with a frog splash on a Baron Corbin on another table, which was pretty cool.
That was cool.
But yeah, there was a lot of hard hitting with some materials. Becky did a Van Daminator. That was cool. They call it the Van Maninator, which is stupid.
That's kind of silly. I missed that.
Yeah, but it was cool. I dug it. But the real meat of this match happened in the finish. And that was Becky saving Seth and then Baron giving her a freaking end of days. And the crowd blew up.
I blew up. I popped hard.
Seth is over in the corner staring at him, staring at Becky's body, and staring back up at Corbin. And they zoom in on Corbin's face, and he turns to Seth and goes, "What are you going to do about it, you little piece of shit?" No bleep. And loud as can be. And Seth proceeds to, when I say, a lot of times, Nick, we hyperbolize. We hyperbolize. We hyperbolize. From time to time, it's been known to happen. When I say that Seth Rollins proceeded to absolutely murder Baron Corbin, like just murder him. He murdered that boy. He took a kendo stick and whooped him like a government mule. He beat him like a boxing bag. He then curb stomped him 3 times in a row. Baron Corbin isn't just dead. He's dead. He's dead, resurrected, and dead again. He buried him. He dug him up. He killed him again. He stuck him back in the grave. He dead.
Yeah.
He did.
Thank you, Brad, for the reminder in the chat, by the way. The thing I need to call out, they finally let Lacey break her moonsault move out. She did the jumping, spin around, Ray Phoenix-esque moonsault. Holy smokes, that thing looked amazing.
Thing of beauty. I mean, Lacey is still green.
Southern Charlotte can also do a moonsault.
Yes, she can. A better one.
Yeah.
One where she leaps up to get into position.
Yeah.
But, Lacey probably needed more time in developmental, but damn, the girl's got some stuff she can pull out, and her presence is great. She acts like someone who deserves to be there. She may not wrestle like it, but she acts like it.
I'm disappointed her and Corbin haven't become a couple just to mock Becky and Seth at this point.
They kind of have. And they said something about that last week on TV where they said, like, we're a pair, but we don't have to give into all this like love and nonsense. We just, we're here. We're a business pair.
No, but take it there.
They kind of hinted at it.
They should take it there.
They kind of hinted at it.
Yeah.
What do you want? The Lacey Evans Baron Corbin sex tape? Just because he's stupid, sexy Corbin does not mean you need to see that.
Well, what they could do is they could put a bed in the middle of the ring, and they could have her come out in lingerie. And they could act. I'm just kidding. We're not gonna do Edge and Lita.
No,
again.
go ahead. No, why don't you describe the entire Edge and Lita live simulated sex bit? Why don't you go ahead and describe it?
That'll be a bonus episode for the patrons.
For 1 hour, Nick describes Corbin and Lacey Evans live sex session.
Hello, erotica fan fiction.
Oh God. Oh, Nick's fanfic.
No, we're not doing that.
Baron Corbin was fully shaved all over.
Oh.
He didn't just shave his head. Anyway, moving on before one of us vomits. Vince thought Corbin was attractive before. Vince is filming the whole thing from like a hole in the wall. That's good shit.
No, you got to get all the way naked under there.
She's sassy. She's sassy. Be sassy. All right. Wow. So Corbin and Lacey, they're done. They're toast. Seth is just coming down from being furious at Corbin. It's hard to continue after that, Nick. And all of a sudden, in the middle of Seth's music, what happens? The music goes dead. Brock Lesnar's music hits. Caw! Caw! Out comes Brock Lesnar and doesn't waste any time. Gets in the ring, 2 German suplexes, a cash in, and an F5 later. And Brock Lesnar is your new Universal Champion. Paul Heyman never says something's a spoiler unless it's going to happen. I don't know what he's building it up for, but at this point, that is like, if he says that, it's going to happen. And at some point, he's going to break it. He's saving it up for something good, and I can't wait to see what that is. But yeah, Brock cashed in. He's your new champ. We're back to this, Nick. You mentioned earlier that Roman Reigns had to face someone at SummerSlam. Is this the prediction that we made, that Roman Reigns goes into Fox as the Universal Champion?
It's interesting, though, because isn't Fox getting SmackDown? So
does it matter anymore? Is there really still a brand split?
I don't know. And I wanted to comment on that, but I'll save that to the end. Look, I got 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at it right now. 5 text messages last night. 5 text messages.
Wow, you know a lot of people.
All at the same time at about 10:50 last night when this occurred, Eastern time, that said, I'm done with WWE. And I went, in some way, shape, or form.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard someone say that over the last 4 years, you can even keep it just to a Brock Lesnar winning the belt. If I had a nickel for every time that someone said to me after Brock cashed in the belt, I'm never watching WWE again, I'd have $1.15.
Right. Wait, what?
$1.20. But my point is that, all right, they do this a lot, and people still be like, oh, I can't believe they're doing this again. You're going to tune back in because he's a big fight feel.
Yep. There's people watching Raw tonight just to see what's Brock going to do next.
What's going to happen next? This is the thing, is like we just keep coming back. Bro.
The best thing they can do is not even have him on TV tonight, even though they
trying
probably
to be
will.
competitive. We're trying to be competitive with other wrestling companies. Let's put the title back on Brock. Let's be clear. I think they're only putting the title back on Brock here so that someone can take it off of him.
Yep.
Whether that's Seth or Roman. I don't truly believe this is going to be another reign until WrestleMania. If it is, they are truly, absolutely insane. I already believe they're insane, but that's a whole nother level of just insanity. At this point, if he's not a transitional champ, if he keeps it for more than 3 months, I'm going to be flabbergasted.
If he keeps it past SummerSlam, I'll be flabbergasted.
I could see that happening. I could see them setting something up for Hell in a Cell in September, right before the Fox thing starts.
Yeah.
Or even till October. So their first pay-per-view when they're building it from Fox is Brock losing it to whatever babyface. I could see them waiting that long.
No, technically Roman is still over on SmackDown. It was the biggest acquisition in SmackDown live history. So I see him getting the WWE Championship somehow off of Kofi.
But he's still been on Raw twice as much as he's been on SmackDown.
I understand. Wild card rule. I get it. But if you look at the website on the rosters, he's on SmackDown.
Why are you looking? It doesn't even matter anymore. Like, they're going to put him wherever they want him. They're going to give him whatever belt they want him to have. I already feel like they're about to unify some of these belts. I don't know what they're thinking. It doesn't.
They should just get rid of the Universal title once and for all because it was the dumbest mistake they ever made.
Well, at this point, part of the issue with the Universal title, and I realized this when Brock picked it back up here. Part of the issue with the Universal title is at this point, so many people have the association of that red belt with Brock Lesnar. Not Kevin Owens, who also held it for a year. Not Seth Rollins, who's also held it for a while.
Right.
Brock Lesnar is who they associate that title with. And with good reason.
Yeah.
So, that's not a good association. Like, from a publicity standpoint or a public perception standpoint, that belt's got terrible mojo. Sorry, Raleigh.
Yeah.
But it's at the same time, like, I don't. If this isn't a transitional thing for Brock, it's madness. If it is transitional, it's fine that he wins it here on a B grade pay-per-view, essentially.
Yeah.
Because they're building for something, as they did with so much else on the show. Building for the next couple of months. Setting up storylines that we don't know the end of, and they probably don't either because Vince changes his mind on a weekly, hourly basis. But this could be them going, all right, we have some relatively long-term booking we're working towards here. How do we do that?
Yeah.
And this is one of those decisions that they did.
I tell you what, man, if we don't see the Universal title again but 2 or 3 times between now and Mania in the next 8 months, 9 months, I don't know. This can't be that again.
No, and I don't think that they will because I think they have taken so many hits and there's going to be competition growing and growing and growing on them. That would be mind-boggling to me if that's what happens.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was Extreme Rules. I saved myself in that last match by saying that Brock would cash in. You did pick that Baron and Lacey would lose, but I picked that Brock would cash in here. So we ended up in a tie, Nick. Those are not very exciting.
Lucky bastard.
But yeah. But at the same time, you don't have any Nia merch on your wall, and I don't have to eat crow for the second time in a year.
Yeah.
So, What did you think about the show overall? Like, how was this? Like, grade this pay-per-view.
B. because I came in with very low expectations, but I was extremely entertained for the most part. I didn't have a lot of complaints about this. I think the way that the card was laid out was very clever. I think having Heyman come out and do a little interlude gave everybody a chance to take a breath. I think
a little 24/7 interlude as well was there.
That's true. I think having KO come out and do another KO bomb on the mic after squashing Ziggler gave everybody a chance to catch their breath. I think that they did this very smartly. I think opening up with Undertaker and Roman Reigns was very smart. I going into this, I was like, that's going to be the main event. Seth and Becky in titles?
Well, don't forget. I think that they're starting to make the opening match like the second main event these days with how they want to get the crowd hot early. So that's what that seemed to be. Do you think that did this feel like a quote Extreme Rules pay-per-view? Did they build it up enough to be? No. This is why it's called Extreme Rules.
We've been saying this for 2 years that there's nothing extreme about Extreme Rules. Like all of the matches used to be like crazy stipulations and like go back to doing stupid crazy shit again. Otherwise,
or
just call it something else. Yeah,
you have
call
enough.
it something else.
You have enough other names for pay-per-views. Call it Judgment Day. Call it Armageddon. Call it In Your House. I don't give a crap. There's no reason to call it Extreme Rules.
No, don't call it that one. I'm sorry.
Nick, how dare you?
It came out, okay? I'm sorry.
Never say that again. No, but why not? Why call this Extreme Rules when you've got a couple of matches where there are no rules, a 1-2-on-1 match, and a last man standing match? You know, you can call it No Holds Barred all you want, or an Extreme Rules match all you want. It's essentially a match with no rules. It's not Extreme Rules. There are no rules. So have look, if it were me, every single match would be no DQ. It's just the nature of it. If you're going to have a pay-per-view that's Extreme Rules, you can add additional stuff on top of that, but every single match is no DQ. Sure.
Chaos. I want unadulterated chaos and extreme stipulations, period.
Again, this is something that we've been kind of saying.
Beach. Butter says bash at the beach.
Bash at the beach. Exactly. Halloween
awesome.
Havoc. How about that, Butters? Can we have some Halloween Havoc in July?
Yes.
I'm down.
Oh, yes.
One night stand.
Beach. One night stand. Oh,
it's in
God.
Philly. Call it one night stand. My point is that the name Extreme Rules makes you think of extreme things. You can't do extreme things in WWE right now. As hard as they hit each other with kendo sticks, nothing in this pay-per-view made me feel it was quote extreme.
No.
We just watched an AEW pay-per-view where a guy stuck thumbtacks into his feet. You know what I mean? Like. And even that wasn't that hardcore for what I've seen out there these days. But it was pretty extreme. So, I don't know. Extreme Rules, I think the name can go away. I like the idea of having matches with, you can bring in kendo sticks. There's no holds barred. Fine. All right. Cool. But Extreme Rules, Maybe I'm being a little bitchy WWE fan, but that's just sticks in my craw.
Or you could have a pay-per-view called No Holds Barred, where
Nick,
every single match was no holds barred.
I would lose my voice promoting that on this show. Hey, Nick, you know what it's time to talk about today? No holds barred. Again. I can't even say it anymore. So, man, a couple little notes about this. I thought Renee Young was really good on commentary. It just popped out at me. She was really good. Like, she's been hit or miss on Raw for a while, but tonight she was really, really good. Really good. The little thing I want to hit on. Nick, let's get out of here. We have a lot to talk about on Thursday this week, so everyone come back and listen to us then. We got to talk about the 10-year anniversary Evolve show, which was awesome. Fight for the Fallen by AEW. 3 more G1 shows just happened over this weekend. And tons of other stuff. Plus, there's going to be all the WWE programming this week. It's going to be another 4-hour show this Thursday, Nick. Oh, God. Oh, God, I'm already tired. But it's going to be worth it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just like I think this pay-per-view was. It was actually a lot of fun, despite, don't listen to my nitpicking. It was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Better than I expected it to be. And very glad we all got to watch it together. I'm sorry I wasn't there. I was up north, but I will be there for the next one. I promise. And there's going to be so much more wrestling to watch this month. We're going to have a ton of fun over in the Facebook discussion group discussing all of that as well as all the other places you can go find us.
Yes, if you guys want to get on that, head over to Facebook.com, search for Busted Wide Open, join the discussion group, like our page, and do all that good stuff. That is the hub of our operation. You can get all access to all kinds of good stuff in there, so be sure and join our discussion group. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BWO Podcast, right here live on YouTube every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific. We will live stream for 2 hours every single week. You can get in on asking listener questions by joining us over on Patreon at patreon.com/BWO. Sign up for that $5 tier or higher. You can get access to bonus episodes, Skype calls every month with me and Ian if you like, sweet swag, all kinds of good stuff over at patreon.com/BWO. I'm going to go try and figure out what time zone I'm in currently, because I've been watching so much wrestling on both sides of the planet all weekend. But my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Surrey and Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Surrey and Dangerous.
But by God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.
And we're out. All right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope Raw was good. I'm going to go watch it right now and play catch up with the DVR.
Oh, man. I have to wonder. I have to wonder about Raw. There's a couple of matches, big matches. Fatal 4-Way, Alexa Bliss, Natalya, Carmella.
Well, you haven't been watching the chat, so I'm not going to spoil anything, but you definitely want to go watch it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I don't know anything. I know nothing.
All right, guys.
Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. We really appreciate it, guys. You guys rule. We will see you back here next time.
See you on Thursday.
Yes.
Later.